Oh boy. Are we ready?
Yeah, you got your intro ready.
Yeah, cue us up, Damiani. Hey everybody, welcome to Trailer Jones, a special E3 2017 edition, technically episode 0 of our brand new show, Trailer Jones. If you followed us at Game Trailers, you might be familiar with it. We're going to score some trailers. I'll get into the specific details because I want to introduce Mr. Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And Mr. Kyle Bossman.
I love trailers.
I love trailers too. I love it when you say you love trailers. It makes me happy inside. I just traveled back to my office at Defy Media. These two fine gentlemen are going to be regulars on this show, Trailer Jones, unless they can't, or unless something comes up, like a Bloodborne 2 trailer. I want to have Ian on to drop, what he thinks about that.
Cool.
So he'll fill in. But it will be 3 people, in the interest of time, to organize the opinions. And it will be audio over the footage of the trailer. So we will be recording that from the privacy of our own homes and sending the files. I will be putting them under a looped shot, maybe doing a little bit of editing, but this isn't rewind theater from IGN. I'm not going to go detail by detail. It is basically a podcast about trailers. We are also not going to be following the format that we're about to do, which is a series of trailers. Every episode of Trailer Jones will just be one trailer. I'm going to aim to maybe do at least 1 episode per week. There might possibly be more, depending on big, exciting things. And we might come back and do a special episode like we are doing right now because it is E3. I wish we could score every darn trailer from E3, but we did make specific selections. We did not consult you. I'm sorry, Bloodworth, but Kyle and I talked about what our favorite trailers from E3. We're going to keep at this for about an hour, and you might be watching this on YouTube on our channel, EZA Allies, but you might be watching it right now live on twitch.tv. And throughout the episode, throughout the next hour, or 50 minutes, if there's a trailer you're like, what? Why are, we're going down the list and you didn't score that one trailer, send it over to Mr. Michael Damiani, who will be accepting your trailers and, send him some links and he'll be looking at those and making a judgment call, unknowns to us, of what trailer we are going to be scoring at the end of this episode of Trailer Jones. And we're not going to know until literally we see it on the screen. And so we need headphones for this, probably. Or probably not. No,
what we can do is mute that
one.
microphone and then turn it up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm leaving it up here. So you want
And odds are it's a trailer we've probably already seen. So.
Sure. Jones, I did want to make one thing clear to a new viewer of watching trailers being scored.
Yes.
It's not reflective of the game.
Exactly. That's the last thing that I was going to bring up.
Sure.
We are not pretending to be experts about the games that we are talking about. We are not talking about what we think these games are going to be like and how, in a sense, because this is a projection, this is, building up anticipation and hype. But this is not your typical analysis of what we think the trailer what the game is being shown as. It is just our perception of how it is being sold. We are going to talk about things like editing, transitions, titles, pace, running time, all of these things. Music selection that don't typically come up in conversations about trailers because many other videos online are specifically talking about okay, we saw this, let's zoom in on that sign that says whatever and figure out what that means. That is not this show. If you are an editor, if you are slightly curious about production, or if you just love trailers like myself and obviously Kyle Bossman, I know you love trailers too, then hopefully you enjoy this show that we have done a couple times before. This is the 3rd name of the show that we are bringing here to EZA Allies. This is the first time in the history of EZA Allies that we are about to score a trailer. We will not be using our 5-star method for reviews. We will be using the 100-point scale because we will be averaging the score at the end of the show and figuring out what the official EZA Allies score is for that trailer. Thank you, thank you, Bloodworth and Bossman, for joining me on this adventure of scoring trailers. And let's kick it off with the first one.
Am I going in any particular order?
Whatever you want to do. Surprise us. Yeah.
So, I'm having you guys picture in picture, if that's cool. So, trailer's bigger, you
Cool.
guys are smaller.
Excellent.
Okay.
Alright, excellent.
Excellent.
Yo, boys. Give me a sec. It'll show up on your screen in just a sec.
Cool.
And are we talking immediately or are we doing one watch through?
Oh, no.
What's
we're
your
talking.
plan?
Okay.
Stay the hell away from me, okay?
So Jones, this impressed me immediately, this trailer.
It's got a good vibe. Can we turn it down a little bit? Because we've seen these.
Yeah.
need to revisit them, but it's good. Yeah, it's good to hear the music because the music comes off.
Yeah, I think the music is a big part of this.
There's the clink of the music. You think of bars, cell doors closing, handcuffs being clasped.
Well, I think of it as Chain Gang.
A chain gang, yeah. You're working on the rails. So you definitely get a vibe, but there's also the repetition in the music. Every day's the same. Every action you do, you're repeating. And lots of dialogue, which is great. Something we don't actually get a lot from game announcements. You compare this again to something like a Metroid Prime 4, which we're all excited about, but it's just like we know nothing about that story. We don't know, we so many more details that have yet to come out, where we get a lot of this game. We see action moments. We leave the prison, which I think was surprising to me.
Yeah.
Seeing them outside, kind of like, it was like, what was that movie or a TV show, like Breakout or
Prison Break.
Prison Break?
Yeah.
It was like, well, what happens when they break out of prison?
Yeah.
But and possibly seeing some moments that, like, I was a little spoilery, him returning to his wife and establishing that.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think it goes too far, Blood? Do you think we see too much?
It seems like we see too much for sure.
Little Tomb Raider moment here.
It just makes me it just makes me wonder if they're gonna show this much right off the bat. What the heck else is there? Are we seeing the first quarter of the game and a way out means something entirely different than what we think it is from this? It's really it's
keep
really
that going
curious.
the whole time.
Damian, you just keep it looping.
Loop, loop, loop.
So yeah, but yeah, I would have guessed that we would have seen them out in the woods at the most, but yes, getting into clearly a lot more in their lives beyond the prison is very interesting.
What do you think about the settings? I mean, do you think we're rushed through the story, too much? Like one thing that can potentially be extremely spoilery in a story is following a very visibly linear progression of storytelling. So that like the danger of that is now, okay, well, that's the game now. It's like I see their issues that they're facing. I see that they don't get along. Later they get along more, so much so that he's like cool with him being in the room while he meets his wife again for the first time. Who knows how that, not meet, but like finally is reunited with her. Who knows how that could play out? But he trusts him enough. Yeah, I think that's like maybe one of the only things is that I don't necessarily have an answer for it of like how you would show something like this without being super spoilery. It definitely assumes a lot. It assumes you kind of know what's going on. Like you see them walking up the wall, and like we just kind of know that's not a cutscene. Like based on the things we've seen before with how they split the gameplay, we know. Oh, okay, you probably gotta. We can't both go up at the same time. Maybe we gotta like seesaw back and forth.
Jones, that shot comes like 2 seconds after calling it a co-op adventure, though, which I really like.
Yeah.
Basically, you see up until a certain point, up until the words "a co-op adventure" appears, you see what looks like a video game cutscenes that we're used to. But we know now the screen is split throughout most of this game, and so I really do. I like it so much the way that's saved. First, we introduce the characters, we introduce the scenario, this prison, and then the hook of this game. And it's just right there, a co-op adventure. You're like, oh, okay. But then you see it demonstrated immediately. Not just in the cool back-to-back shot, but you see the 2 separate angles. And a story trailer couldn't be that the whole time with the split screen. But it's interesting for this story reveal trailer to show that what it is, show what the game is at the perfect moment.
These are convicts.
Yeah.
These men are in prison. We don't know what for.
Yeah.
Do you like these men, Bloodworth? Does this trailer endear you to them, both of them, in the same way or different ways?
Yeah, I think you. Yeah, I think you get a sense of them being interesting characters. Like is a weird word, but yeah, I think that there's something to attach to in them, and they do look different. They do have a bit, not much, but a bit of an exaggerated style. That I think goes beyond just trying to like make everything look super realistic.
Brothers had that too, But it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see developers that start with an independent game that has a very a simplistic art style, and then their next game is a little more detailed, and they kind of get closer to obviously. Brothers had kind of a fantasy aesthetic where this is definitely realer, more gritty, more grounded. A specific note: this jump at the end, I don't love it. I think I think it's a fairly cliche. It is literally a cliffhanger, and I mean he grabs him.
Yeah.
Like I think it's okay. It also doesn't feel like gameplay to me. Not as much so as them like shimmying up.
You know what? Shimmying up would have been a good final shot.
Yeah, or then slipping after they, or just something that surprises me, and I get a little like jolt out of maybe,
Something more unique to this game.
maybe even
Yeah.
positive, but
Yeah.
it's like, to me, again, not to like keep talking about this one scene, but like him reuniting with his wife, to me, has way more emotional stakes than like, oh no, he's falling off the cliff. Like,
Yeah.
I think the establishing them as characters, especially their dynamic, it's like, not only are they going to be able to survive and evade the cops and everything, but like, are they going to get along? Like, are they going to find out things about each other that they didn't know? And then ending with just a pure physical scare.
Yeah.
I think is kind of not doing the game justice.
We get the intent, but I don't think it's we're scared for them.
Sure.
The intent is, look, they have to rely on each other. One might die and needs the other person to survive. But you're right. What a silly shot.
I also think it's a tad short, but it's tough for press conference trailers because that is always dictated by the person producing and directing.
Ooh,
the
I would
press
disagree with
conference.
that big time, Jones. I think we know everything we need to know about this game in its shortness.
Yeah.
I see this as efficient.
A tad. Again, I'm not saying they need
Sure.
to like super stretch this out, but maybe it is the cliff. It's abrupt at the end, and maybe it is the music. Maybe I would have loved if the track cut out and you did a little something extra, but I don't think this is as egregious as an offender as some trailers can get, where they just like really just lean on a track and just kind of let it do all the work. Yeah, it was just a very quick announcement, but it is an independent game, an EA Originals. Interesting, it's called Originals, and they always just talk about one. Are we prepared to score? Is there any other points you wanted to bring up, Mr. Bloodworth?
No, I think we covered everything. I guess
Prepare to score.
I guess the only other thing is that in the prison sequence, it almost feels like there's maybe just a bit too much. It just feels like like you're saying, like it's a direct line of that story. So in a way, it feels like, okay, I know in a sense exactly how that prison section is going to go. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more details in there, but it's just there and there and there and there and there, and then you're out.
Bossman, are you ready?
Yeah, I mean, I have some other things, but I'll do them right after my score.
I will give the very first score of mine to a trailer at Easy Allies an 8.3. I dug it. But I just think I think the pace is very similar too. I think it has a great note. Then it starts off real well. It has just a great attitude and style. It is that trailer's attitude for the entire time. And I would have liked maybe to shake it up at the end and to conclude with something that one of these men says to the other that jolts me far more than, oh no, try to catch me from slow-mo jumping off a cliff.
Yep.
I'm pretty similar. I'd say about an 8.4. I think that they could have. I think that they could have kept it a little briefer, and I think that the cliff shot is just not great. It just feels like it doesn't need to be there.
Well, it's such a unique game, and it's such a cliche moment.
Yeah,
It's
a bummer.
incongruous.
It's a bummer to end on. Jones, I think you're right. I think the back-to-back would have been like the ideal final shot because it's something you don't see in other games.
But it's tough to go back to the prison.
Yep.
After you're out. It's tough to.
So that's what I'm going to give this an 8.9. I like to reserve 9s and above for things where it's like, I've never seen that in a trailer before. I think this is a super good trailer. I really like the song selection. I really like the dialogue that's picked. I think you'll see in a lot of game trailers, they just pick some dialogue because somebody's speaking and there's a cool shot at this point. It seems meaningful in each moment to say this is what this video game character is about. And I love the half and half. It's I think this story is probably split down the middle. It's like Full Metal Jacket. It's like
Yeah.
the just like split down the middle.
Yeah.
The first half of the movie is just here, and then the second half's here. I get the impression the game is like that, and because the trailer is like that, and I love that ride. I love that ride of because it's a revealed trailer. We're getting the clues piece by piece. We're assuming this is a prison escape game the entire time, and after that halfway point, the first shot is that wide shot of the mountains and the trees, and it just looks gorgeous, and you're shocked. And then it just keeps escalating upon that. It says, no, there's a lot more to this game for the second
They're
half.
not out of the woods yet.
Yeah. Oh, nice, Jones. That's my justification for that. But yeah, it's a very, very good trailer at advertising what this game is and demonstrating to an entirely new audience what this game's about.
And speaking to one of my good buddies, Mr. Michael Huber, who detests CG, trailers, most of them. This is the game. I mean, they just put it out, and I really love that, especially when you come away understanding it, having questions, but but being able to communicate this game to another person and get them excited as well. So
Yeah.
that was fun. That was a highlight of the EA press conference.
Absolutely.
Next trailer, please.
That was the highlight of the EA press conference.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Can we get some more volume on this one? Because I haven't gotten a chance to go back and watch this whole thing.
Put the kids to bed.
So you,
That's too loud. That's too loud to talk over.
so
Okay.
this is so this is an exciting announcement.
Yeah.
I hate to be a dad. I hate to be a wet blanket. I hate
no.
to bring up something that is like, oh, Jones, calm down. But did we need 4 F-bombs? Like, that really doesn't sit well with me. It's weird. It's just so weird. And the reason why is, I would think differently if it was a reaction to someone being hit. If it was a reaction to someone being injured. If someone dropped something and, oh, shit. You know, like, if it was an expletive done in action to emphasize stress or difficulty or, you know, pain or something like that. All 4 of them are done purely for shock value. We're not. No one dropped F-bombs in the original Beyond Good and Evil, and I just think it's an attempt to be edgy, and it feels weird and it feels pushy. I don't like any of them, and I don't. It's not like I don't like swearing. It's just like I just think those are just you need to place those well, you know, and I don't think they're well placed.
So Jones, I would say
The glass fell on his forehead.
yeah. I would say it's more natural. I don't think it's forced. I think there are characters who speak like this in real life, and there are characters who speak like this in movies, and there aren't characters who speak like that in video games, maybe GTA, which is weird. It's weird because, I don't know, they're scared of the ratings or whatever, but I don't think he speaks unnaturally. I think that he definitely speaks in that manner to differentiate him from characters we've seen before.
Sure.
And
It's definitely a message. I'll give you that. I don't think the reaction that instills from you is not what they wanted. I was just surprised.
And what I really like about the character Jones is that he uses all those F-bombs with a smile.
Right.
It's all in good humor. It's all in good nature. He's not being a tough guy dropping
Sure.
F-bombs trying to make us think he's cool. That's just who he is, and he's a goof, and he's look at him. He's having a great
there's
time.
nothing cliche about this trailer at all.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, let me get that. And which is why I hate to say it. I literally haven't talked to many people about that during this whole E3 week. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. God, this is so gorgeous. But to get back to something that Mr. Huber likes to bring up, it is CG. This is not gameplay. We're
Yes.
not getting this game for a while.
Yeah.
If you play the original Beyond Good and Evil, there was some vehicle fun in there. There were definitely some flying, that you did. I like the variety of environments. The city definitely feels like the old game. But does it being CG take away anything, Blood?
I think it does because this is a great story that they tell in this trailer. But in terms of getting me excited about what this game is about, I kind of have no idea. I guess that this is the impetus for them to go on this journey and get some cool loot, but I don't know what is like. It doesn't feel like this is going to play like the first Beyond Good and Evil in a lot of ways. This feels like an entirely different endeavor. So it's a strange thing because all I've really seen is a bunch of vehicle chases, really.
Yeah. Jade was the only playable character in the first game, right?
Yeah.
Like Paige helped you, but you never like switched to Paige and controlled him. I think you switched to the robot guy, or
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
I think you did switch to the guy that followed the rule book. I think you did control him at some points. I might be wrong, but I definitely get multiple character vibes from this. We meet the people back on the ship. Clearly, we're going back to this city. I mean, there's no way they designed this huge city just for this trailer.
Maybe
even though
maybe you
they're
switched to Paige. I can't remember for sure.
If they're we're taking off to another place, we're probably coming back. So even though I definitely get the vibe from this trailer that this will be about exploration, you will travel to other places. You really only traveled from one planetoid to another in Beyond Good and Evil. You went to the moon at the end. Spoilers, but
Dummy, are we getting clarification from Chad on that? I think we might have played as Paige. It's been a while since I played that because even the remake was a while back.
Jones, here's how I feel about this CG trailer. It's okay and it's good because of the nature of the announcement. If the game was already announced, if we already had gameplay of it, and then the CG trailer came,
The game was already announced. A long time ago in a Ubisoft press conference, they also had a CG trailer.
In a press conference, dude. That's pretty official. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't end with Beyond Good and Evil 2, that trailer. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess a sequel to Beyond Good and Evil was previously announced. Anyway, I consider this, it's obviously a different game. It's not what that game was.
No, it is obviously a different game.
And so, you don't need to sell us more than the world. This is saying we have enthusiasm, we have a story, we have ideas, and because all of those ideas are good, because the world is good, because this is well directed, we have confidence in their project. And so I'm cool with it. I'm absolutely cool with debuting like this with a CG trailer that is advertising a world more than a video game.
The problem with my criticism so far,
Yeah.
I just like to get those things out of the way, just to talk about, this is just what's been on my mind ever since I watched this. This thing is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and there's just so much going on. It's just eye candy. You can watch this trailer 500 times and you'll just pick up all sorts of little signs in the background and buildings and ships, and it's not only just like a dense environment, like because it's so easy to make something like, take Crackdown. So you look at the skyline of Crackdown, there's a lot of beautiful colors there. There's a lot going on. There's not a lot of character. There's not a lot of, I don't look at a building and wonder what happens in that building. And I'm wondering that everywhere. I'm always looking at stuff and wondering, like, how to like a temple with like, holograms around it. Like, what's the story there? And it feels believable. It feels lived in. This is a world I want to go to.
I do want to draw attention to that one shot after it where you see her asleep against the chimp. That's good. That's good visual storytelling. And so to see moments like that, Jones, which is understated, it's hard to do that kind of thing. It's hard to write down she's asleep on his shoulder, but that does communicate so much to us. I realize it's not like, what is the gameplay going to be like? But again, it sells a confidence in their storytelling, and that's why I'm cool with it.
The grappling hook is sure going to be in there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how do you show me that and not let me do that?
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting too that they kind of do have that breather. You have that very intense chase scene,
Which is kind of what I was talking about with Way Out.
Yeah.
Which,
and then
changes.
They give you they give you that breather. They give you this sense again with her nodding off asleep that they go a long way. Like to get back to their base.
It's nighttime,
a good
so you
journey.
assume it's several hours.
Yeah, and that's another thing. They just have a lot of things in there to feed into that that the landscape changes multiple times and all of these things and how they interact.
A nice slow ending, with the title reveal. How are we feeling? I'm ready to score.
I'm ready to score. I'm ready to lock it in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to score.
I really love that first game. I've been waiting for this announcement for a long time. I feel a little guilty about this score. It's still a really good score. It's better than the Way Out, but I'm gonna go 8.9 on this. I want to go 9 and above. Because it was such an amazing announcement, because this is such a clearly prepared thing.
Yeah.
But like, I just got my hangups. I think it's a little too much attitude for it to be believable. I think I think the swearing is a little bit too showy. And there's just a couple things about him like not even looking when he shoots, and like him holding the thing between his fingers while they're flying through the air at 80 miles an hour. That like just seems more cartoony and less like, oh, this is actually like a world. It just doesn't seem. It seems a little more cartoony than Beyond Good and Evil 1 was. And so I can't not forget that game in my head going into this. Well, I know that looked like a cartoon, but like just Paige and her abilities she just wasn't that cocky. You know what I mean? And like Jade, sorry. And these like everybody's cocky in this trailer, and so it was just just dropped a little bit, but 8.9.
Sure.
Excellent trailer.
Yeah, I think I'm right at 8.9 for maybe different reasons. I enjoy this trailer a lot, and I think the story it tells and everything is done really well. I am sort of with you. Like I'm on the fence with the swearing. Like I personally avoid swearing for the most part and almost entirely. And it's weird.
Humorously so.
It's weird to introduce it to an already established franchise that has a broad audience, and then or maybe I don't know. Was there some in there? I don't know.
Was there some what?
Some swearing in the first game.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think you take the 2 F-bombs out at the beginning, you take the F-bomb out at the end, and you just have that MF bomb right in the middle that that like is so, and he smiles. It's such a great moment.
Oh, like that Saints Row game.
But it wasn't great because the guy had said it twice, like right in a row, and it just like, it's you gotta cash those, you gotta pace it out, I think.
So I totally disagree. I think it's selling a character. It's not.
Definitely.
It's not like selling a
I'm not
lab.
confused
Well, no, that's
about
why.
these
I mean,
characters.
that's, yeah,
for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sort of on the fence on that.
Yeah.
But I do think like just the timing and everything is weird, and I don't know that I get any sense of what the game is, really. I think those are the things that kind of throw me off the most. It's like, oh, okay, this is this a game? I mean, I don't know.
That's the danger of CG.
Yeah.
You know, you want to make it look as fun as possible, but at the end of the day, you gotta give me a little something more so I can start kind of piecing the whole thing together.
And the truth is, they don't know.
Right? Yeah.
The truth is, they know this is what they know about their game.
Yeah.
I'm going 9.2.
Yeah.
This is a very, very good trailer. I love the voice acting. I love the characters. I love how everything looks. I love the tonal shifts. Jones, I love that this chimp can flick a disc across the room and it just flies over and she catches it. I love that kind of cartoonish physics because again, I think it actually enhances this world. It makes it different from other things. That's what it presents. When we see a talking pig and a talking chimp at the beginning of this, that's all purposeful. That's all. It's saying this is different because, and I think that's the best thing you could do. That's the best way you can advertise a game, is to say we're different because of this, and this is what we're proud of, and that's.
I think
why
what it is if you look at like Way Out, and there's struggle in that trailer.
Yeah.
Those men struggle to achieve their goals, and after I watch this, I get the sense like they don't struggle that much.
Oh yeah, they're on top of it.
Their plight is kind of painted. You know, it's like you don't really get that sense through their actions because it seems like everything goes their way all the time. And just from what we saw in the trailer, like they made zero mistakes. You know, and so it's just like, to me, it just it lowers the drama just
Absolutely.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like that score. By the way, 8.5 on the Way Out trailer collective score from Easy Allies, and a 9.0. You brought it up from our dual 8.9s.
Cool.
To a solid 9.0 for Beyond Good and Evil 2, the second reveal of Beyond Good and Evil 2. Next trailer, please. Oh boy.
Only on PlayStation. Can I take off points for that?
I mean, it is a part of the file. Yeah, it's up to you. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So yeah, lots of gameplay in this trailer. I mean, did you know what it was right away?
The Viking boat. We did.
Yeah. So you want to do a little bit of a reveal, which I appreciate, even though this isn't the first time that we've seen this game in action. But it is nice. It's nice to get really close up on that axe and focus on that because that is a big deal.
Reveal of the child after. Yeah, man, that's some good camera stuff.
We haven't we don't necessarily. I think they actually explained in an interview somewhere like why he has the axe and why he doesn't have the Blades of Chaos, but like not something they really have gotten into so far. It doesn't really matter. The last thing we learn is that he's able to throw that thing and get it back. And so now we see him throw it. Why? And so I like that we kick it off with a question. I think the kid is great in this trailer. And this is all, for all intents and purposes, the game. Like, these are cutscenes that we're seeing. Like, none of this is being shown
models
in a way. But I mean, these are like, that this is kind of in gameplay. Yeah, cutscene, but like probably happens like right after gameplay. Where it's just, I don't question I don't feel like I'm being manipulated here. I don't feel like, but I don't get a sense what this game is,
That's so cool. The guy with the thing through his forehead? God.
And again, pace, the mystery of seeing them in the middle, and we would just love to get into the thick of it and start smashing stuff up, but we're just slowly, revealing these different environments. Almost impossible to get a sense of what happens when, which is great, so you're not kind of constructing everything together and realizing, okay, they do that and then they do that. There's snow, there's caves, there's other characters. When are these conversations happening in relation to each other? But I mean, maybe an interesting point to bring up is like, we were all really excited about this game. I think this game was getting a tremendous amount of hype. Did your hype actually increase after watching this trailer, Daniel Bloodworth? Did your stocking God of War go up at all?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, see, I think we haven't got to it yet, but I think the closing shot is probably the thing that was most intriguing to me is to have this giant thing as an ally, because we've had a lot of giant things in God of War. It's one of the things that God of War is known as. So, even though we see a lot of stuff here, we see a lot of gameplay. It then makes you wonder, like, okay, what what is next that they're not showing, with this creature.
How does that moment play, Kyle?
I don't think anybody laughs. Were people laughing in the audience, the live audience?
Yeah, a chuckle here and there, but not a laugh.
Yeah, I think it might come at the
nothing that
wrong.
obstructed any other moment in the trailer.
It's there to put some little levity in there, and I don't think it pays off the way that it's supposed to. I think it'll. Put your mic on.
Context for that character? There's two dwarf brothers, and they're kind of rivals, and they help you with your powers, like crafting weapons.
So those are NPCs we'll see frequently.
Correct.
Cool. Yeah, it's not apparent in there, and I think that moment will pay off better in the actual context of the game. I don't think it was a good trailer moment, to be honest with you.
One thing I think is kind of interesting here too is that they, at least in this trailer, it seems to communicate that they can be brutal without really getting ultra gross. Which I think that they were really trying to one up themselves so much that they were starting to get towards in the last.
Oh, like squishing out the eyeballs?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I also like the combat escalates in a sense of each scenario gets further along, whereas when we first see gameplay, he's approaching a group of enemies, even though we're bouncing around to a bunch of different areas. The big finishers that he does, we tend to see near the end, ultimately climaxing in that guy's giant on fire thing that he grabs and uses it against a classic God of War.
Yeah.
Taking your opponent's enemy, and then of course the bookend.
Yeah.
All the way at the end. What do you think is the draw here? What do you think they're really trying to sell? Is it the scale?
It's the scale.
Is it the uniqueness of the enemy? I mean, is that different from stuff that we're used to in this franchise?
And to be honest with you, I don't think the scale, you don't feel it in the shot. You know what I mean? I think it would help to see the water.
It's not about the scale at all.
What is it about? What is it about?
That is about the entire God of War franchise being flipped on its head. Every time you see that shot in every single God of War, it's like, all right, here's the big enemy I'm fighting.
No.
That enemy is helping you. That's what that shot is all about.
What about when you're climbing Gaia's back, when you're allies at the time up to Mount Olympus? You're allies with Gaia.
But you're still seeing all these other huge things around you that you're fighting.
You saw Gaia. You saw a huge colossus that they're called Titans. You see a huge Titan, and that Titan is your ally. Tell me I'm wrong.
In the God of War 3 trailer?
In God of War 3, the game.
I'm saying for this trailer purpose.
Yeah.
That is usually a moment
Sure.
to show a giant
Okay, so here's the argument.
It's unusual. It's not unprecedented.
Yeah. And here's the argument I want to make. That's not the most interesting shot in this trailer, and I don't think the most interesting shot in the trailer is given the credit it deserves. It's when he sees the pottery and the former self on the pottery. I think that is a more impactful moment, and I think that should be treated as a more impactful moment. And I don't think it's edited that way. It's edited in this way of just getting us into the character. You see, and here's another thing. I think Kratos' expressions in the first third of this trailer are also really impactful. The faces he makes that you've never seen him make before that show that the character's matured and the writing's matured for this franchise. And then he kind of stops doing this. Look at his expression right there. That's the stuff that's impactful. That's the stuff that's oh, I haven't seen that before. We have seen him slam big monsters before.
Sure.
And the giant creature wants to help us. But we've seen giant things before, absolutely. And so, yeah, I'm actually more interested in the first third of this trailer than the last 2/3. The boating down the river reminds me of the Twilight Princess trailer in the exact same way, where suddenly Link is boating down a river, and you're like, oh, the possibilities. And I think it needs more moments like that, more, oh, the possibilities.
I'm excited about this game. I think it's a powerful trailer. I think they show the combat really well. I think they pick good moments. It does kind of have a moment, here and there that's him meleeing or grabbing stuff, ripping stuff apart. There is a little bit of sameness, but I just think, we were talking about earlier in this special E3 special, to pace yourself and have peaks and valleys and have these different moments. I do like that it pauses a lot, and yet.
There's a lot of black flashing there. What do you think of that, Brandon?
In mid combat?
Yeah.
I'm never. Yeah, that's kind of one of those editing things that one of those tricks that a lot of people.
What we're looking for is crutch.
Crutch.
Okay. It's a crutch.
Cheap crutch.
And it's match the music better too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. It kind of stands out a lot more when you turn the volume off.
Yeah.
But we should always watch trailers without the volume on, just to get that final last analysis. We should also listen to it with just the audio to totally understand it. But I guess one of the things is I'm like, I really liked this, but now I'm like directly comparing it, trying to score it to Beyond Good and Evil 2, and trying to figure out like where did this leave me and how hard do I think this trailer was.
They're
to
very
make.
different trailers.
And there is a little bit of like, he can do this move, and he can do this move, and he does this thing cool, you know? And so like it does, just because there's a couple, there are like 3 or 4 shots in a row where like he'll do a move and then finish, and then it'll cut to the next shot, and he's like getting ready to do the next move. And it does kind of feel like one of those trailers where it's like, you know, Kratos and his axe has many abilities. He can use these combo attacks, as opposed to like giving me these crazy, you know, emotional and physical action highs that exist in this game. But same time, E3 2017, you're bringing God of War. I think this is how you sell it. And I think BGE 2 just edges it out just a little bit. I'm going 8.8.
Oh wow, you're close to me again. I think 8.7 for me, and
I got to get Huber on the next episode.
I
He's
do
dying
like-
right now. He's dying right now.
Anyone can make a CG trailer.
This
This is the game.
Yeah,
This
no.
is the game
I know,
you are
I know
going
it.
to play.
But what? Hold on. Hold the phone.
Yeah, you can-
listen to what you just said. This is the game. You're excited about this game.
Yeah.
So like you're excited because you're seeing moments in this game
But people
and you're
who-
seeing them realized. But you
There's
can't
still
just
people who hate God of War that are excited for the game because of this.
right. It's an 8.8. It's great. It's a good score. But like I had that. Here's the thing. In all honesty, here the feeling that I have is like, yeah. I'm not like, oh, you know. It's not like, oh my god, they're doing that. It's like he's got the kid. I knew that. He's fighting monsters. I knew that. He's ripping people apart. I knew that. He's meeting new people. Great. He's forging alliances. You know, like there are those like very few moments in this actual trailer that like really shake things up and really show me like, okay, we're going in crazy directions. It's just it just affirms it. It's just basically like, yep, we are kicking ass on this game, and this is I want to play it. I'm hungry for this game, but it is what it is. It is a very good gameplay trailer.
yeah.
I mean, I'm still very interested in the whole fishing scene and how they bookended the trailer with that. I'm curious as to the significance as to what that's going to have on both the story and the gameplay. You know, you kind of lead in a way with it's odd because it's somebody almost has to know from last year that he can retrieve that axe.
Yeah.
Like you know that he's throwing that axe and then he's gonna pull it back because of what we learned last year. You don't know that from anything before that.
But even if you didn't know, it's like, why the hell he just throws axe away? Like it does kind of play to both people.
And then to see, oh, that's why he threw the axe at the
Right.
end, and and get that giant character in there.
Kyle.
You're not gonna like this, Johns.
Oh, what? I might.
Giving this a 6.8.
What?
You're gonna have to like continue to work with Michael Huber, right?
You're
Yeah.
You
locked
realize
out the
that,
door
right?
right now.
He's out. He's gone. All those impressions,
has
all
left
those
the
impressions
building.
we were gonna get from Huber today,
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Gone. He might not
Uh,
even be on the group stream next
Just
week.
like I said, I think that the trailer isn't edited as if the editor knows the most interesting parts of what this trailer is. I think that you'll look at some shots and it's frankly, why did you include that there? I think it's really important to escalate in a trailer to show something more interesting than the last thing you saw. And this is a trailer that somehow becomes less interesting as it continues. Again, like Huber, like can't wait to play this game. It sold the game, it showed the game well, but the art of making a trailer isn't just throw shots together that are cool.
Right.
It's escalated. It's have even a little arc within the trailer itself, and it's an inverted arc. It's a hill.
So that brings us down to 8.1 for God of War.
Yep.
And I just want to point out 2 other things you need to know about the show if this is the first time you're seeing Trailer Jones. One, I like aggregating the scores together because I like it when somebody has an interesting, possibly combative, possibly an opinion you disagree with.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was just one thing, so it does kind of average it out to an interesting number. And again, anything above an 8 is still fantastic. Like we're watching some good trailers here. Like we're doing good for ourselves with E3. And the other thing too is that you have a game that we all want to play. We would die if someone just handed us a copy of God of War right now and we could play it. And yet at the same time, I like being as critical as we possibly can. I like, kind of like taking a breath and stepping away from it and realizing, okay, let's look at this edit and let's actually
We didn't listen to it.
apart.
I love the dialogue at the beginning of this trailer, and then nothing from the rest of it. Again, it wants.
Well,
to,
no,
it-
they had the merchant guy.
Yeah, you're right. And to me, that's not as interesting as the
Then they
you
had the-
don't
they had
belong
the,
here. Like that is so interesting.
The wife or the mother or whoever she is.
And the guy who says, "Aren't you gods supposed to be superior to us?" Like that's good stuff. That is way more interesting than like you need to be a good father to him. That's like, oh, okay, all right.
I think that's interesting, for especially a guy that murdered his whole family. Has never had one really.
And then he had to protect a girl in God of War 3. He's been through it, man.
He did a bad job. Just trying to be a good dad, all right?
I think the most interesting things are in the beginning of that trailer, and they are truly interesting things. That I think God of War is going to have an incredible story, but yeah.
All right, let's see if we can get to 2 more trailers before
Okay.
we get to our fan pick. Next
Okay.
trailer, please.
Wait.
But here's another thing. This is a danger. I mean,
Wait.
Wrong trailer, Donnie.
Oh, yeah, wrong
again.
trailer, remember?
He did it again.
So we know what we're getting into, but we can talk about it because we've seen this trailer.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I have a quick question about
Huber is raising his hand.
Sorry. Expectations. How do you factor that into you scoring a trailer? Expectations of a game beforehand.
Well, it's like kind of like Bloodward said. We're talking about expectations. If you didn't pick that up, where he said the axe, he's like, well, you kind of have to know that comes back, and it's like, well, I think it plays both ways. It's like because if you know he throws it, and you're like, and it cuts to black, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you kind of forget about it later, and then it comes back at the end. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. That was we needed to solve that riddle.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you don't, he just chucks an axe into the ocean. It's like that's bizarre. So I think. I really try to see both sides of the coin. I try to imagine I have no idea what the heck is going on, and I am a returning fan.
Yeah.
Because again, that's the difficulty. Like you do not know the context at all of what, and not only my experience on it, but like when people are watching this, like. Like it's hard to imagine a person who owns a PlayStation 4 that does not know God of War is coming out, but like maybe they don't, and like maybe this is the trailer that shows up in the PlayStation Store that they watch, and
But still,
this is their introduction to the entire thing.
I think you have to review a reveal trailer differently from a trailer that comes in the middle versus a launch trailer. I think those are 3 different trailers that have to do 3 different things, and you have to review them as such. And so, Huber, I would say it matters. Expectations are a huge factor.
Expectations going into this game, T-Rex, not expecting a T-Rex. But again,
we got to see how this is paced out.
And a theme that I want to bring up is you just highly criticized a gameplay trailer that you did not feel escalated, and all of that stuff you said.
Yeah.
We got another gameplay trailer,
trailer
of a game we only saw one other trailer of.
Yes.
That we're seeing a lot more gameplay elements here.
And wait till you see how this escalates.
All right.
He's
already saying right off the bat that
it is mathematically.
I'm doing math right here,
It's
Kyle.
stairs.
We'll see how the math.
You're about to watch some perfectly mathematical stairs.
An edited staircase. So I'm thinking like Xenoblade Chronicles right away.
Yep.
Especially with like the birds flying by. I'm definitely getting like an open world vibe.
Because it's nothing you've not seen a world like this in a Mario game before.
Right.
I think you like to talk about your Doc Brown spider monster. I think a T-Rex is pretty far from Mario. Like
Yes.
pretty far from anything
Especially
they've ever done.
this thing.
Which
It
is
looks
hilarious
like
because Yoshi's a
straight out of
dinosaur.
Jurassic
But
Park.
like,
And then the reveal of the hat. God, that's so good. That's so good. And you don't even know at that point really what you just saw.
yeah.
Right.
You don't know yet. And so the reveal hasn't quite happened yet.
I will bring out one concern
Sure.
that I have for this trailer, Kyle.
Yeah.
That I know how you feel about it because you've already expressed your excitement.
Yeah.
I'm curious what Blood thinks. We return to some environments we've been to before, which I don't love.
Okay.
Them jumping right back to Dog City, and then granted we're seeing some crazy party on high rise, and we're seeing like new stuff happen in Dog City. But my rush from seeing the T-Rex drops a little bit when we immediately go to an environment I saw last year.
I don't feel that way.
Okay.
I think after doing something that's so extremely unlike what we've seen before, to to kind of go back and like reestablish like, okay, this is the same game. This isn't some weird crazy spin-off that I hadn't known about. And then once we start getting into this mechanic, you know, seeing all of the different ways that it can be used in these places is just super interesting, and every one of them just feels completely shocking, you know. And while it's all going on, you have this song that you don't know what to do with because
That's written for this game.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Is this like the theme? Is this the main menu basically?
You
Like-
realize she's talking about collecting coins at some
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
wait a second.
Yeah, it's an original Mario song with lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just to like, humorous off in the corner. like Max Payne in the rain, like in a back alley,
Yeah.
just like I don't know if I wanna live
6.8.
anymore.
Might as well have been a dagger
But
through
one
my
thing I want
heart.
to point out, if it, you know, and this is rare for people that are like, oh, this Trailer Jones show, this might be neat. Like we don't do this a lot where we reference other trailers because we are watching this in sequence, so it is very easy for me to think of something else. We just got done talking about gameplay in God of War. Very short, actually. That was a little shorter than I remember. When I see Kratos like rip a guy in half, I go, yeah, but I'm not like, oh, you know, it's not like explain. It's like, right? Like I could even put money on what button does that. You know, it's like there's a lot of a return, this like celebration of what I love, and just seeing like exactly how it's going to be executed and how amazing it's going to be, and just like the raw juicy fidelity of it. Whereas like he throws a hat on a robot, and I want to know what the hell's going on. It's like what? Huh?
Yeah.
Like he's now like a bolt of lightning moving across a arrow. How do
I
they
think
do
even
that?
seeing him on the scooter is very unlike what Mario riding a scooter, huh?
Are there just like in the environment I grab him and drive him around, or like there's just some extremely bonkers moments, and they're so fast too. Like there's a really great sequence where he's just like, I'm throwing my hat on that, I'm throwing my hat on that, and like I remember actually when like you watched that live, you were like easy Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's they really kind of throw you into that concept.
Well, you also you just had this sequence with throwing the hat in different ways, the spin around and everything, and then the quick thing of the 2D thing. And then we get into the frog and Frog Mario, and I don't know what this shot is. He's getting sucked down.
This
into
is the
drain
first
or
time you
something.
do it.
That's
maybe?
that's what happens to Mario when he's getting transferred into a new consciousness. That's the animation.
But do we see that in the
Oh.
game, and why? Like that specific.
just that first time,
I
just
think,
to
it's
communicate
gotta
what's
be like
happening
a
to
first
Mario
time
there.
thing, yeah.
There
Yeah.
definitely is more of like a moment, the highlight of the frog, you know, like getting hit. I'll be blunt, Kyle.
Yeah, be blunt, please.
It's 2 years from now. You're watching some random trailer on YouTube.
Yeah.
And on the recommended side, it says the E3 2017 Super Mario Odyssey trailer.
Yeah.
You've already played Super Mario Odyssey. You go back and watch it. Does it still hit?
Yeah,
Does it still give you those vibes?
I love to give points for a great song selection. This is a 10 out of 10 song selection.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
You don't get it all the way. You don't get all the lyrics right away.
Yes.
You know, it does take a couple times. I just want to enjoy him becoming a Hammer Brother and throwing hammers at a Hammer Brother. That's gratifying.
Yeah.
And,
That's
I love that
something
they
you
go
kinda
back
gotta know
to the
what's going on in
T-Rex.
the
Like
world.
after you've established what this mechanic is, and like,
Yeah.
okay, then we see the T-Rex actually getting taken over.
Right. It's telling a story, and that's really, I mean, I don't want to be like pretentious about it, but yeah, great trailers tell stories. They have that arc to them, and yeah, not even that. Also, I think, you know, after we're done with the T-Rex stuff, the second shot is showing the concert, the context for this music we're hearing, and we don't see Pauline quite. We don't see her there, but we do see the tease of her. And I'm like, the word Pauline means very little to 10% of this audience, you know what I mean? Or it means anything to 10% of the audience. But it's just what a reveal of her, even just from behind. It's so good. It's really interesting to watch this right after God of War. I didn't realize that we shouldn't directly compare them like that, Jones, like you said, but it just escalates the whole time. It keeps introducing crazier things. You got to remember that, like, we didn't even know about costumes leading into that. So that's an introduction.
Yeah.
And the way that costumes are introduced and moves are introduced, characters, and just, everything is purposeful in this trailer.
It's always a gamble to overwhelm a viewer, to throw too much at them.
Yeah.
You know, you run the risk of being repetitive. You run the risk of being confusing. You know, you run the risk of being annoying, really, and just kind of like me starting to see the edit through what's happening. And I think they pull it off. I think
Yeah.
I just like the speed at which all these things are announced, the abruptness of it, the fact that I'm introduced to another concept and I'm still processing the last 5 things that I saw and trying to figure out what the heck was going on. I just really, again, wonder if this is just going to kind of, slide into the 4 or 5 trailers we got before this game came out, and we'll just say, oh, is this just one of those trailers? Whereas, like, are you going to be like, yeah, but that second trailer was so much better than the first and not as good as the third?
I can easily say this was better than the reveal trailer.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because it's paced so well that it is just fun to watch over and over, and all of that motion goes into it. And then at the same time, it's just, it shows so much that how different this game is. Like, no, this just isn't another Mario game in 3D with new environments. There is a lot going on here, and many different mechanics and things that you really and themes as well. So there's it's doing a lot really quickly and really gracefully.
I'm so nervous about Huber. Like, there's sharp objects over there. Like, we got a couple more trailers to get down. I'm shaking. I think, right? Right.
Here, we're all fans, man. We're all fans.
You skipped so many things in the God of War trailer. He gets hit. He gets hit in the trailer. That's showing that he's vulnerable. Every other trailer, Kratos is just ripping people in half, killing everyone. A shot of him getting launched into the air, flying away. Like, that is a story.
But that was a cutscene. Like,
I think that was in game.
yeah.
I mean, it was in game, but it was part of the story.
The guy just happened to hit you right to the edge of that, but that's the introduction to that
right.
boss. That
Sure.
guy comes out, you're not given control, he hits you, you fall over, you wake up, now he's a little farther away, they give you a second to compose yourself, and then you get into the fight.
Yeah, Hubert, it's just I think that there are good shots in there, but there's also, like, they're right next to weird shots that shouldn't be in there. Like the shot of him shoving a guy's face on the ground and then he gets up and the camera's right there. I don't understand why that shot's there.
It's not perfect.
And so if you put that shot, like, next to that one, I'm losing the plot, man. I'm losing the
But
progression.
thank you for addressing your opinions. Huber.
Can I say something about it?
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
want to get up on?
Vis-a-vis God of War versus Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Whoa.
I've never played either series at all.
Yeah.
I still don't care about God of War. I am so in for Beyond Good and Evil. And that's the job of a trailer.
I thought you were a God of War fan with us.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Okay, all right.
I ain't against it, I just never played them.
Back to Mario.
Well,
Back
he's
to
not
Mario.
on this table, so he's not going to be scoring this trailer.
Okay.
The other thing that I gotta say, Huber, is that, like, I'm not, Bear McCreary, a talent. His score, fantastic. But, like, you wrote a song for me like, you revealed a song that was written about this game.
Oh, you
and
mean we're back to Mario, right?
Yeah,
This trailer?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's ridiculous.
that just
But
charms,
even-
charms the heck out of me. And
Even
that's
the
gonna,
vibe of that song is not typical Mario.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous because it's short. I'm nervous because I honestly, Kyle, can't say if I'm going to maintain that interest.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to settle in on a flat 9.
Nice. That's a great score, though.
I'm gonna go with a 9.4. Again, I think it's paced really well. I think it's fun to watch. I think even once I know what all of this stuff is, it will still be fun to go back and see, oh yeah, they put that in the trailer. I didn't realize what that meant at the time. So yeah, I think it's done really well. And to your point about them showing old environments, I think that's good because they're showing that there is so much of these environments that
Sure.
it's not just, oh, well, the colors is all that makes this world what it is.
Sure. I think of a shot like when he's got a sombrero on and he's running over the hill and it's the reveal like, look, a Mexican themed town, and it's like, right, like we saw that before. So like him actually getting in there and using things and like really getting into buildings and seeing the store, like that's what excites me.
Yeah.
But just like and again, it's not so much that we saw those levels, it's that literally we see T-Rex and then go straight to another. Whereas like there were some other areas that we hadn't seen before that I didn't necessarily instantly recognize. So just the second shot, like immediately going back to an old place that I can instantly recognize.
9.5 from me.
Ah,
This trailer introduces a new gameplay concept that I think could have been uncomfortable to a lot of people, and it like as it communicates it just tells everybody what this is in the simplest, most coherent way possible. Again, I love the escalation. I love that each little thing gets a little nuttier than the last thing, and by the end, you're just totally on board. And again, like you said, I believe the song's probably in the game. I don't think they wrote it for the trailer.
No. But
Yeah.
I mean, just even that, you know,
Yeah.
like not a lot of games have songs that make fun of how their games.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it was a good time to reveal it after the initial reveal last year.
Yeah, and all that together makes it a very special trailer.
A traffic
Study
barricade?
it.
You play as a traffic barricade in this game. What?
So that brings us to a 9.3 for
Ooh.
the collective score.
That's gonna be hard to beat.
The highest score.
That's gonna be hard to beat.
But because we're already establishing a tier.
Yeah.
And you're already getting a sense like, ooh, they like that one trailer more than the other. That does not affect any awards that we ever do officially as EZA Allies.
It's just the three of us.
This show trailer does the analysis for whoever is on the panel.
Yeah.
It does not. Whenever we actually sit down as a group and award something as EZA Allies, that includes everybody who wants
Yeah.
to get a vote in. And so don't just assume that because Super Mario Odyssey is currently winning the E3 trailer race from this table that means it's going to come out on top for the official best trailer of EZA Allies.
Same
from E3
applies to
2017.
Game of the Year, by the way,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
actual reviews. You know,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
one person
Well,
at a
especially
time.
today too, because we're all just like
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
so like worked up about E3 that it's like it's nice to kind of take a step back.
Yeah,
and
everybody's giving good.
reevaluate.
Can we watch a bad trailer next time?
Well,
You
hopefully
got a
we
bad
get a
one?
real goofy one at the
Okay.
end. We're gonna do one more trailer and then we're gonna take it to our fans. Damiani, do
Okay.
you feel confident about selecting a trailer for the end?
I have one.
The fan
Got one ready to
favorite.
go? Okay. So let's do one more trailer from our list, and then we
Okay.
will get
And
to
then
our,
do the
and then
fan
we'll get to
favorite?
the trailer for the fan favorite. So
Okay.
one more trailer. What's it gonna be?
Oh, this is a good trailer.
Oh, yeah.
wow.
Here we go. So
Redemption.
So
God.
This is redemption, dude. Everything you see, Huber, is stuff you like haven't. It's oh my goodness.
yeah, context. So I mean, huge jump there. You know,
Yeah.
giant
Yeah.
white milkiness to extreme darkness to now fire. I made the horrible mistake of assuming this was a different character. Like this was not really communicated to me directly.
But then
that was
it is
Sebastian
right
for the first
here.
game.
He's
Oh
got
my
rolled
gosh.
up sleeves, man. That's Sebastian's thing.
I should have known, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would it have been too much for somebody to say a name, or just give me something that like
Ooh.
just cements it, or is it kind of nice not to know?
I'm sorry, I forget. Was the daughter was a component of the first game, was it not?
Mentioned, but I don't believe Huber just mentioned, right? Yeah, mentioned, but not a you know you didn't see her.
Okay.
And that eyeball was like mechanical.
It's an aperture from a camera.
Yeah.
It's an aperture from a camera.
And this is all
Appreciate the art, I love.
Yeah.
And then you to look over and there's just bodies.
all CG. Like we're not getting any. I mean, even like suggestions possibly of gameplay.
What? No, there's
Think?
gameplay in this.
I think this right there is
That-
not though. This is.
was- well,
Okay, well it's interesting. We can't tell, I guess.
It's CG for the like most of it.
Okay. Yeah, I think like it ends and then we get some gameplay. Blop 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 blop.
I like that we don't get any. One of the things I really enjoyed about the first Evil Within
that
is just
flash is really good too.
very extravagant, crazy-looking monsters, and I don't feel we get too much of that. I don't feel we get a glimpse of something enough for it. Oh God, is that unsettling?
Yeah.
The hand like turning backwards. But I don't feel like we get too much of something, so it's like, well, now I'm not gonna be afraid of that when I encounter it in the game because there I just got a real good shot of it there. Everything is very out of the way. He just only gets to see something for just a second. I think the biggest thing we get a glimpse of is this photography monster. And if you had played not only Evil Within, but the DLC that they added later, there was definitely a vibe of inanimate objects come to life, you know, in a sense, especially in one of the DLCs where you saw things that kind of look like mannequins combined with machinery. And yeah.
Oh.
But now that we're talking about context, we're talking about
Yeah.
having information going in. I mean, this trailer really does get me all psyched because I do know these implications, like this white fluid. Like I do know that in the first game, you know, you are dreaming most of these things that are happening.
You're in a tub.
And you're in a tub.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like I do make that mental connection. Does that resonate? Just the kind of the white milkiness, like, is that evocative if you have no frame of reference on Evil Within at all?
It is. It absolutely is evocative.
Yeah, I think there's
In a horrific way.
Yeah.
In an effective way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this really feels to me like it plays on that sense of the surreal and that kind of sense of dreaming. way more because I think the first Evil Within, they kept that under wraps a bit so that it could be a surprise, and now it's like, well, you can't make that a surprise again. So just go all in. It's like if this is gonna be a mental nightmare and anything can happen, then just you go back and forth between this stuff just sort of floating in this sea of your mind and getting kind of I don't know, you kind of get like the more the less tangible imagery mixed in with like really vivid and detailed stuff.
You know what it reminds me of? And I couldn't put my finger on it until right now.
Okay.
James Bond.
Whoa.
This feels like a Bond intro.
Because it's stylish?
Yeah.
Because it's stylish, sure, absolutely.
It seems like that, because obviously, like, maybe these moments aren't going to happen exactly this way, but it almost seems like the credits where it's just like, you play the song and, like, you're kind of, like, it reminds you of scenes from the movie, but then you have transitions of him, like, going up his arm and then going into, like, crazy CG stuff.
I think this song is worth having a discussion about, Jones. It's becoming a thing. It's becoming a thing to do a cover that's, like, slower of a popular song, do you know?
Sure.
And I want to know your impression of it, Jones.
This one didn't necessarily irk me. I think one of the things that always bothers me is when it's a cover of a song. When you do like World War II or something, when you're like taking a song and shoving it into another time period or something, it's like, this does not fit at all.
Yeah.
And like, this is modern day. This is fun. This is a modern tale of a cop. So it's like, I think this is just one of those genres that it's like, I'm not going to read too much into that. It is kind of pre-order now for me a little bit. Like, it does kind of, unless I think the marriage is just the most perfect thing ever, I tend to go 0.1, 0.2 down a little bit, because I'm like, okay, someone else wrote that song.
Yeah.
Someone else wrote those lyrics, wrote this tune, is responsible for how effective it is and what it makes you think of. And when somebody picks a song, they're kind of like, using that power to.
It's funny. I'm not sure it'd be a worse trailer if they just went with the original.
Sure.
Right.
It's a good song selection in that the lyrics have meaning within this context.
But again, if you do have the context of the first game going into it, the music that was familiar in the first game did have meaning, was reoccurring, was a presence in the game. So if they kind of throw a random song at this, then I'm not like, oh, well, that's not going to be relevant. Like, it might, that might be his daughter's favorite song, that might, be extremely relevant within the context of this. Does this trailer get away with just being weird? Where it's just like,
no.
Yeah, we're seeing lots of weird stuff, but is it just weird for weird's sake, or is it connective?
That's the thing, Jones. It's not weird for weird's sake, and it's really hard to be provocative without being cheap, and it's hard to be weird with meaning and purpose, but you get that. In that, like Ian said, we see the lens in the eye. But we also see the light bulb burst and this weird like photography element. And what was it? Respect the art, appreciate the art.
Appreciate the art.
Yeah, I mean, we see like threads, we see some common themes, and that's like enough to just pull us through to make it seem like there is something there. And I think there is enough like continuity between all of this, so it's not just weird for weird's sake. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think you get some sense of that motivation there too, because you do go back to the daughter multiple times, and it's interesting because it's like this reoccurring nightmare where it's like she's burning in this context and then she's burning in another context, and it's just it's just haunting him, and it's like it really makes you start to wonder like what really happened, what actually happened, that he just keeps seeing that image in so many different ways.
It's weird, we haven't talked about this. Those shots Huber was talking about are not part of this trailer, this export we have here.
Yeah.
So I guess they didn't upload it to YouTube, but during the Bethesda press conference, there were extra shots at the end that I actually miss. I thought they were good. And they added more on top of it, where it was like, oh. And then it was like, yeah, this game's real. It bums me out to not have those, to be honest with you.
So what do we do? I mean, we're scoring this?
Ask Huber. I don't want to disappoint him anymore.
It's too late, man.
Because it would, honestly, it helps out a little bit, I think, to show flashes of gameplay at the end of a CG trailer, but it's whatever.
You defending that is enough for me.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So I'm going to take it away
Really clear, Kyle.
and maybe drop a score that Huber's not going to love.
Oh, no.
Because Because one thing that I don't like is like, and I don't know what to say, like, hey, blame me, I'll take it. But like, I didn't know that was Sebastian. And I played the hell out of that game. All the DLC, loved it. Didn't know, wasn't sure. Like, yeah, I mentioned his daughter, but like, I just didn't, like, I just wanted one lock to solidify just kind of just a tiny taste of a base of what how the story continued, you know, because clearly we're already in nightmare mode. Like, if I'm led to believe these things are happening, he's already been hooked up to some other machine again, and he's trapped. And I would have liked not to know exactly how that happened. Obviously, keep the mystery, keep the suspense, but maybe just someone to say his name, or just something, you know, like maybe a title at the beginning, just something that grounds it back to the beginning, because it's impossible for me to do that. But I try to step outside of myself and look at this, and if I have never played the first game and have no context, is this just like, oh, kind of a spooky looking game? You know?
No, that's cheap. That's not fair.
I mean, it's better than most spooky games,
Yes.
but like a lot of the things that are hitting for me are hitting because they remind me of Evil Within, and not because on their own they are reinventing the horror genre. I'm still gonna give this an 8.8.
Okay, all right, that's still a really good score,
Yeah,
Jones.
I mean, I got psyched, but I'm just.
You had me so nervous,
anything below
man.
a 9,
That's
I
a
think
great
over there
score.
from a Huber favorite is just gonna get violent at some point.
No, that's good, dude.
But,
That's a good score.
yeah,
that's a
where
really good score.
That's where I wind up.
All right.
Oh goodness.
Where are we gonna be, Blood?
Whoa.
I'm having a hard time.
Get used to the silence
getting
from Blood.
a-
I remember
a
that from the
pinpoint.
trailer score days.
Yeah.
There were just long, introspective moments of careful consideration.
You guys aren't wrong though. I think the trailers or the press conference one that has the gameplay at the end, like added some impact, like you were saying, Kyle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like scoring this trailer specifically.
Yeah.
Because you like you were saying, like maybe the score would be different. Who knows? But as long as we address that.
Yeah.
Sure. I think I'll go 8.9, and I think, I mean, as Huber knows, I've started Evil Within, I haven't finished the whole thing, so like a lot of it hits on me just because of stuff that I like in horror games in general. You know, like the idea of psychological horror is to me a lot better than just relying on, you know, like lots of monsters and jump scares and stuff like that, and so to kind of play with your head and to, you know, not know what to expect really.
Yeah.
So and this just keeps doing that. It's like, well, what is this? What is that? And bringing the personal nature into that. If you can really, like, in the final game, make that effective to get that connection, like, that can always be more horrifying. Like, a random zombie walking around is not a big deal. But a zombie of somebody that you knew, that you cared about, and that you have to make a decision about, that's a different thing, you know? And so, psychological horror, and the way they presented it here in all of the different forms, I think really, I think it hits pretty well.
Nice villain reveal too. Didn't talk about that, but nice.
The hand is the part of the villain reveal. Mm-hmm. That's what leads into it, and I think it's great. Yeah. I'm gonna give this a big old flat 9.
Don't even have to do the math on that.
I'm not crazy about the song selection, but I think it's a smart song selection, and I think it's super hard to impress people today and be different without being cheap, and it's not cheap. It makes the Evil Within 2 interesting to an audience that is hard to impress, and so I think that this is the best way to introduce this game. I think it's a really good CG trailer. It's great.
Blood wins, 8.9. Final score for Evil Within 2. And if we didn't mention, 9.3 is our official score for Super Mario Odyssey. I don't know if we specifically clarified the total.
9.3, that's such a good average.
So now to wrap it up, let's turn the volume up a little bit, because I do want to watch this just in case, just so we can absorb it, because I have been thinking a little bit about these trailers where I have no context on this. So we're going to watch this with audio, not talk over it, and then give it a good old score.
The fan-suggested trailer?
The fan-suggested trailer from our wonderful community. Thank you for offering suggestions and being patient with all of our crazy opinions.
So I'm meeting you guys.
Mute us, turn the volume up, and let's get.
All biological life must be exterminated.
Doctor, get us out of here! Ultron Sigma has 2 of the Infinite 6.
Gamora, we have Thanos. He raised you as his own. Convince him.
Have you come to beg for my help?
You have no choice. Help us.
Release me, and I will give you what you want.
Give us cause to trust you. Help us to find the Infinity Stones.
Very well. The Stone of Power lies at the heart of No Moon.
Bear witness to the death of your world.
Zero? His core routines have been rewritten by the Grandmaster.
Nova, Major, get to the core.
The Time Stone has concealed itself beyond time. Valkonda needs its king.
We had a dream. Our two diseased realities united to form a single perfect universe. Will you not bow before your god?
You are no god.
Wait for the sting, though. We got a little sting coming. Wait for it, John. Wait, what is it? What? Oh, this was not in the press conference.
Oh, but it's in their trailer. They released it.
You'll have your diversion. Make it count. No, wait!
Ninjas.
Thank you for
Wait,
that.
and then what about the Dante moment? Was that not part of the trailer?
That's how it starts, isn't it?
No, where Dante tosses his guns to
yeah,
Rocket.
This is a different trailer.
Is that a different trailer?
No, it's not a different trailer. That's definitely that trailer. They just didn't put it in that
Again,
one.
that's a good tag to a trailer that has a bad tag. Oh.
Yeah, thanks for this. This is great. We were just glory.
Yeah, you know what?
You know, just like riding down Glory Road and all these trailers.
Yeah.
It's nice to let's dig into this, baby.
Yep. Time to flush one down.
Is there an interesting line of dialogue in this trailer, Cal Bossman?
No. And the interesting part was that tag that was missing where, yeah, Jones, we're going to get to my primary issue with this trailer immediately. This is an Avengers game guest starring a couple of Capcom characters. This does not pay off on Marvel versus Capcom, treating both the collision of these worlds as an interesting thing. It's a Marvel story with some Capcom characters saying some dumb lines. And what I love about the tag is it shows Dante tossing his guns to Rocket, an actual interaction, and an interesting interaction even between Capcom and Marvel characters. Otherwise, this doesn't sell the premise. It doesn't sell why it should be interesting for these two worlds to collide.
Yeah, Brad likes the Mega Man love.
Yeah.
The character reveals is really all we got here.
Yeah. I think that's
a
the
little
same.
bit of context is nice. Kind of saying like, oh, okay, I see how we're gonna go through the campaign, chasing after the stones, going to different areas. We're in Wakanda now, fun.
Yeah.
And I like how abrupt they are with some of the character reveals. I like that Arthur, who like we know, is it Arthur from Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yep.
They're like, we know he's been in this series before. It's not like super surprised, but I like that like he's introduced now in Infinite by just like grabbing his head and chucking him. It's like I kind of like how flippant they are with just like here's a character and there they go.
Yeah.
And then we kind of lose that like near the middle, and just man, every scene is like there's a bad guy. Well, we should stop that bad guy then. We have this other bad guy. I want to stop him too. Well, then you should help us. It's just like my goodness, please. Say something even remotely interesting.
Well, another thing is weird to me is, and this has more to do with the plot than the trailer, but I mean it is part of the trailer, is Marvel versus Capcom does not come through at all. Like this is Marvel and Capcom versus somebody else.
Could you have used some gameplay like right in the middle, just like a little
delicious
I mean,
15-second,
a story sizzle.
It would help to pace it up. It is a story trailer, but the gameplay looks so fun and actually more fun than any of the action you see in this.
Like, why don't we see Thanos and Sigma fight?
Yeah.
Why don't we see them just beat the crap out of each other for a little bit? Like, what would that spoil really?
Yep.
And I have to say this: the scene here when they're all just sitting around talk like this is a bummer.
Yeah.
Like these models do not look great. These animations do not look great.
And it's
this
Marvel characters
dialogue
talking
does
to
not
Marvel
sound
characters.
great.
Oh. Yeah.
There is new here. And I'm gonna go low. I should probably say low. I'm ready to score this. I mean, there's just not a lot going on here.
I'm ready to score this too.
Sean Lee, what the heck?
I give this a 5.8. And I'm gonna go above a 5. To me, 5. Anything above a 5 is like there are things to redeem this.
Yeah.
Like there are things here that I appreciate. And what I appreciate is the reveals. I appreciate the way that they just kind of like this character, this character, this character, this character. I've stated everything else I don't like. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, once you get into the 4s, it's like there is next to nothing redeemable. It just kind of starts to piss me off the closer we get to 0.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm not angry at this.
Yeah.
It's dumb, but I shrug it off.
Yeah.
Gotta go lower. 5.4. And a lot of the same reasons, a lot of things I said.
Excellent choice, Chad. Excellent choice.
That was a great choice.
The tag makes all the marketing junk in the end, part of the trailer, really. Like, a lot of times you can excuse that stuff. It's like, well, that's after the trailer. But no, it's like they put in there, it's like, okay, download the story demo now, which is good. That's
I love
a surprise.
that. That's a great way to end a trailer.
But then Black Panther and like, hey.
And by the way, Black Panther, who we showed as a character in the story, you need to hit the deluxe edition if you want to play him.
Yeah.
Or spend the money to buy that character.
Otherwise, that might be all you see of him in the entire game.
And then that tag's not a good tag.
Dying right now for the Cal Bossman score.
This is a 4.6. Jones, I mean, there's not a lot of errors, I think, in its editing and things like that. It might be the source material. It might be really hard to work with what this actual story is. But much like you, if a game makes me mad, I'll give it below a 5. It makes me mad. This trailer makes me mad.
I mean, how bonkers is every Marvel vs. Capcom game ever made? The good ones, the bad ones. They're all just like off the wall, just tons of energy, and like there's no energy.
It's devoid of energy. Yeah.
Does not sell the game well. But also, thank you for picking this trailer because it's a great representation of what Trailer Jones is going to be, the way we scored trailers before. I know it's E3. We're talking about all these things that we love. It's just because it's E3.
Yeah.
I love to score bad trailers. I love to really get into like, this really irks me.
And why?
And so both of you expect a call from me at like midnight. We're just like, oh my god, this trailer just came out. We're scoring this.
Get out of bed. Like,
we're
okay,
not just gonna
right,
pick
Jones.
stuff that we love. We're gonna pick stuff that's bad. And of course, we got our amazing community to back us up and pick a super dumb trailer that we gave a super dumb score to. That is the first.
Sorry, what was the
episode.
average for it?
5.3.
5.3
is the final, and that is Trailer Jones. Again, when we were not going to do big packages like this unless it's a special event. Each episode of Trailer Jones will be just one trailer, much shorter than this. This ended up being about an hour and a half.
But Chad is desperately requesting an Xbox trailer, something from Microsoft.
We're done.
No.
Crackdown 3.
We're all done.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
Yeah.
At this moment. I gotta go.
Look forward to Trailer Jones, though. What did you say? July 1st.
July 1st will be the premiere of Trailer Jones, the very first real episode. Gonna change up the graphics. Gonna change up the song in the beginning there. Just kind of throwing something together to have a little bit of presentation, production value here because it is E3. But feels good to score trailer, doesn't it?
Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Bloodworth. Thank you, Mr. Bosman. Thank you, chat, for that excellent suggestion. Thank you for watching.